Alright guys, we're out on a compressor change out. We came out for scheduled maintenance on two systems that we've installed over the years. It's an 18 SEER 5-stage, but when we were went to check pressures on this yesterday, we noticed that the breaker was tripped, and then it also tripped the main breaker for that panel over here. And went through the diagnostics of checking the compressor. The compressor actually ohmed out, but it did not show any resistance to ground, but whenever we disconnect the compressor from the contactor and the capacitor, it does not trip the breaker. And I actually got it to kick on for a split second after I hooked everything back up yesterday, and then it tripped the breaker. So we know the compressor's bad. I megged it out with a megometer, but your basic feel piece, or I'm not familiar with any of the other brands that just check your basic simple resistance, aren't going to pick up on that failure. But we're going to recover the refrigerant now. We're going to weigh it out, see if we've had a leak. We got the system weigh in here of 7.67 pounds there. So we're going to do this recovery. Just follow the instructions on whatever recovery machine you're using, and then we'll pick back up once we get all the refrigerant recovered. All right, so we got the old one out. We replaced the filter dryer with a zoom lock. We cut the old one out, put the zoom lock in. We did recover like 11 pounds 2 ounces. So I haven't been the tech that's been out here on this job. I can't access the history right now, but at some point somebody put about 3.5 pounds too much refrigerant in this unit. Whether or not that caused the failure, I don't know. That's certainly not good. I wouldn't suggest it. So it's supposed to have 7.67 pounds in it. We could just say 8 to be on the safe side. It's a little bit longer line set than 15 feet. And we recovered 11 pounds, 3 ounces, 4 ounces, something like that. But we replaced the filter dryer. My helper took out the bolts on the old compressor. This is the new one. I've already got it set in place. I made sure I pulled a little bit of a vacuum with the recovery machine and was able to braze out the old compressor. Something I wanted to try today, you can't really do it on warranties, is to cut the fitting off of the compressors, and then you can braze that piece off later. Never done that, but this is a warranty compressor, so I don't think they'll take it back with that piece cut off. So we're going to go ahead and bolt this down, braze it in, and start pulling a vacuum. All right, we got our vacuum done. We're charging the system up, weighing the refrigerant in to 7.67 or 7 pounds and whatever that comes out to in ounces. Just take a peek here. 16 ounces in a pound times 0.67. So about 11 ounces. So 7 pounds, 11 ounces is what's weighed in from the factory. We're at 6, easing up to 7. All right, we got it weighed in. Gonna go ahead and start this unit up. All right, lovely sound. That is not what happened yesterday when it was dead. So, the design subcooling is 10 degrees. We're gonna let this run for about 10-15 minutes or until my pressures balance out, whatever happens first. And we're going to see where our subcooling number is, which is going to be this number right here. And basically that's the difference between the temperature of the refrigerant and the temperature of the copper tubing. That is how subcooling is calculated. And we've got a video on that, on how to charge actually, or how to check the charge in heat mode based off of, I think it's, yeah, that diagram. But we're in cooling mode now, so we're gonna let this run and then check it. All right, we got it done. Ended up adding 8.5 pounds altogether. And we're right at 10 degrees subcooling. Right on the money. And a few things I didn't talk about when we started on this was you want to make sure that the capacitor is good that was in the unit if you're going to reuse it. So it needs to match what the new compressor is calling for, which this was an OEM compressor. The capacitor happened to match up with what was needed, so we didn't have to swap the capacitor. They do send a new wiring plug, which we replaced. I zip tied it where the old wires were zip tied, so the one that's clamped down on the suction line in there coming off of the compressor, I didn't cinch it down to the point where it's compressing the wires into that copper tubing. You don't ever want to compress wires, period. So I see that all the time, especially with fan motors, where people leave the wires sticking out of the top when they replace them, or they zip tie them to the frame of the top of the condenser fan motor and they cinch them down super tight. What happens is that vibration rubs the insulation off of the wire and it ends up shorting the ground. And so I just kind of hung the wire off of the suction line instead of cinching that zip tie up real tight. But that takes care of this compressor change out. We're done adding refrigerant. I'm still staying right around 10 and a half, and we're gonna button up and get out of here. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the like button. And until next time, y'all take it easy.